The Scuba Diver Magazine podcast is sponsored by Scubapro, who are celebrating their 60th year of being an iconic scuba brand, and Scubapro has a few offers that I'm going to break down later on in this podcast. Hi, all of you wonderful scuba divers out there. Welcome to the Scuba Diver Magazine podcast. This week, a couple of job opportunities if you want to get into the diving industry. Aggressor liveaboards are making liveaboards a little bit cheaper, which is always nice to hear. The Swedish Coastguard is protecting some shipwrecks from looters, and 8 freediving world records have been broken at a recent competition. But first, Ghost Fishing UK divers are on a Shetland net mission, cleaning up some of the shipwrecks up in the Shetland Islands. So this is volunteer divers from Ghost Fishing UK. They're heading to Shetland on a 6-day mission to help its fishing community clear giant gill nets that have been abandoned by what are said to be non-UK vessels. From the 6th to the 11th of August, the charity will be diving from the liveaboard the Valhalla, which recently carried the technical dive team that identified the deep lane World War I U-boat, the UC-55. But Ghost Fishing UK says it's responding to reports from Shetland fishers that the discarded gill nets are catching all kinds of wildlife as well as wasting commercial fishing stocks. The fishers have been pulling in these nets, some weighed down with rocks along with their own nets, and they faced the difficulties and costs associated with disposing of them, and it is really hard to do it from the surface, so of course we need scuba divers to get in there and get the job done. A pressure group called Fishing Forward UK, which has more than 3,000 members, called on Ghost Fishing UK trustee Christine Grossart to see if the charity scuba divers could help them out, which they of course obliged. The divers hope to recruit volunteers to help sort and clean recovered ghost gear each evening, ready for it to be recycled back on the mainland. They're also asking the community to share the location of any fishing gear lost in the 35-meter depth range. Ghost Fishing UK has been clearing fishing gear from around the UK since 2015, recycling it and working in lockstep with fishing communities wherever possible. It now has more than 70 scuba diving volunteer members, and it's trained to clear these hazards safely. A Ghost Fishing UK outreach evening in Shetland's main town, Lerwick, on the 10th of August has already sold out, reports Grossart. We are thrilled that we're going to have a mix of public fishermen, divers, and conservationists all in one place working towards the same thing. It's going to be a groundbreaking evening. Northlink Ferries, DFDS Haulage, and other companies on Shetland are said to have offered their support, and crowdfunding to cover the cost of the boat and the equipment has already reached £17,000 of its £20,000 target. So if you are interested, just head over to Ghost Fishing UK's website and see if you can help at all. The next news story is that 8 new world records have been set by 5 freedivers at the peak of their careers at the Vertical Blue competition. No fewer than 38 national records were also set in the course of the 9-day contest for freediving's elite at Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas, and almost 2/3 of them were held by or broken by female freedivers. So the AIDA Judge competition comprises of 4 depth disciplines. So you get constant weight no fins, free immersion, and constant weight by fins, so using 2 fins. Competitors are invited to challenge themselves on 6 official dives and also to win the Vertical Blue Championship titles for men and women. Day 1 saw French competitor Arnaud Girard, who's 27, break the CWTB, so the constant weight by fins world record with a 122-meter dive in 3 minutes and 35 seconds. His 8th constant weight by fin world record is just 1 meter deeper than the previous one set 2 months ago in the Philippines by Alexei Molchanov, who, to qualify for AIDA records, competes not as a Russian but as an international candidate. On day 2, Molchanov achieved a free immersion dive to 133 meters in 4 minutes and 42 seconds, breaking by a cool 5 meters the previous set record that was set by Peter Klovar. The Croatian was unable to defend it after being disqualified from vertical blue, along with another contestant because of a alleged doping violation. I spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. There was a bit of a drug scandal in the lead up to this. There was some medication found in some of the luggage, and of course that's going through all of the proceedings that has to go forwards. And on day 3, Molchanov also succeeded in his bid for a new constant weight world record, achieving 133 meters in 4 minutes and 13 seconds. In this case, he broke his own 130 meter world record set 5 years previously at vertical blue, and this is his 30th world record. On the women's side of things, the next world record came on day 5 when the women took over proceedings at the top level. Hungarian diver Fatima Korok smashed the free immersion record of Netflix star of the moment Alessia Zecchini by no fewer than 4 meters with a dive to 102 meters that took her 3 minutes and 52 seconds. Zecchini, who had taken the record 3 times in as many years and held it for as many as 4 years, had been unable to compete at this year's vertical blue. Day 6 then became Overtake Alicia Day. Another big name, Alenka Artnik of Slovenia, equaled Zecchini's constant weight bifin record of 109 meters, also set earlier this year at Secret Blue in March. Artnik had previously held the record back in 2019 when it was just 92 meters, and on the final day Artnik aimed to win the record outright by diving to 111 meters, and she did just that and faster than planned in 3 minutes and 37 seconds. Within an hour of Artnik's Day 6 record, Katarina Sadurska from Ukraine had followed up with a new constant weight no-fin world record of 76 meters, and that was in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And again, it was Zecchini losing out as Ada record holder, in this case by 3 meters. She had held that record since 2018's vertical blue, so lots of new world records. Besides the headlining world records, 38 national records were broken at vertical blue 2023, and female freedivers made their mark with 25 of those. The really big hitters were Mexican stars Pedro Tapla and Estrella Navarro with 6 world records between them, Uruguay's Vanessa Estol with 5, and Hungary's Fatima Korok and South Africa's Taylor Davidoff, who each set 4. Peru's Juan Valdivia broke 3 records, national records, as did Taiwan's Wen Xiang Huang and Hu Yiming between them. With their high points tallies, Tapla and Korok were declared overall winners of Vertical Blue 2023, which was sponsored by Garmin. Full details, results, and video of the competition can be found on the official website. I'll pop a link to the DiveNet article that you can read down in the links below this video. So, as I mentioned at the start, this podcast is sponsored by the scuba diving giant Scubapro, who have been making great scuba diving equipment since 1963, and Scubapro makes everything from masks and snorkels and fins to wetsuits, dry suits, dive computers. They have a beautiful range of regulators as well, and they have a great range of products that scuba divers love because if you take their fins, for example, they still make their jet fins, which are a design from the 1960s, but divers still love them because they simply got it right the first time. The only upgrade that the jet fins have ever had over the years is to add spring heel straps. And Scubapro also makes some of the most cutting-edge fins today, from their Sea Wing Nova and Supernova fins. So Scubapro covers the entire range of diving equipment, from their heritage equipment to modern technology. And right now, Scubapro has a pair of offers at participating dealers. The first one is a free Octo offer. If you buy a Scubapro S620 Ti or the D420 with either a Mark 19 Evo or the Mark 25 Evo first first stage, you're going to get yourself a S270 Octo for free, which is a great way to start building a regulator set and start saving yourself some money. The D420 may look a little bit different to some other second stages, but it breathes beautifully. The S620 is a combination of the best features of other Scubapro second stages in a great all-rounder of a second stage. The free Octo offer also extends to their S600 with a Mark 25 or a Mark 17 Evo first stage, which is one of their most popular regulators. Again, a very strong all-rounder. That and the G260 or the new G260 Carbon Black tech with either a Mark 25 or a Mark 19 Evo first stage, you'll get yourself a free R105 Octo. Now, I know that was a lot of numbers that I just threw at you, but if you visit your local Scubapro dealer, there's a dealer locator on the Scubapro website where you can find your nearest and they can help you find the right regulator for you. The second offer is a dry suit promotion, which is a great way to save some money again or get a fancier dry suit combination in your budget. If you buy a neoprene Everdry 4 or an Exo dry suit, you can get a free K2 light undersuit set or a K2 medium thickness undersuit for £99, which has a suggested retail price of £298, so you're saving yourself some money. Or if you prefer a trilaminate dry suit, if you buy the Evertech breathable or the definition dry, you will get the K2 extreme undersuit for free, which is a great way to stay warmer in the water. Personally, I tend to wear my dry suit year-round here in the UK, so a dry suit is a great investment. Both of these offers are running until the end of July in certain regions and participating dealers, so do ask them first before you turn up demanding for free Scubapro equipment. Good news from Aggressor Adventures, who run liveaboards all around the world. Beginning from the 1st of September 2023, Aggressor Adventures is lifting fuel surcharges for guests on its worldwide fleet of scuba excursion yachts and Nile River cruises. This new benefit for Aggressor guests coincides with other potential money-saving offers from Aggressor Adventures, including 40-year anniversary special pricing and a reduction in individual reservation deposits. New individual guest reservations now only require a 20% deposit as opposed to the previous 40% deposit, so you don't have to put quite as much money up front. The payment and deposit policies remain unchanged for group travel. It's only if you're diving individually. The CEO, Wayne Brown, said, "Around the world, all of us have felt the pinch of inflation and impacts our travel decisions. At Aggressor Adventures, we value each and every customer and appreciate them choosing to spend their vacations with us. By eliminating fuel surcharges and providing other money-saving benefits, Aggressor Adventures gives our guests even more reasons to book their adventure of a lifetime and enjoy add-on tours, gear, and photo courses to make their adventure even better. The temporary fuel charges previously collected on board the vessel during the charter will be eliminated unless extenuating circumstances beyond the operator's control require additional charges." So it just makes your life a little bit cheaper, which is always nice. Liveaboards are great to really get as much diving done as possible and get the better dive sites. Some of them are a little bit harder to reach, especially from a day boat. Some are actually impossible to reach by day boat. You always see it on Thistlegorm. You visit it on a liveaboard and you rock up kind of in the afternoon or something. It depends on the itinerary, but yeah, you cruise up nice and comfortably. You relax for a little bit, you go for a dive, you come back out, you have some food, and then you dive it again. But the following day, you wake up, you do a morning dive on Thistlegorm, and then come like 11 o'clock or something, you look at the horizon, you start to see all of these day boats just kind of like racing towards you, and they've been going since like the silly hours in the morning just to get down there. But yeah, you just woke up at a comfortable pace and you've already dived it 2 or 3 times. So yeah, liveaboards really are the way to really experience as much diving and the better diving as possible. So there's two, or at least two, new positions at Mike's Dive Store that I see advertised. The first one is a deputy store manager with the aim of progressing to full store manager of their Chiswick store. So they describe it as the ideal position for someone that wants to go places in the dive industry. We're looking for someone to go that extra mile. This role is application based only, so please send CV and a cover letter outlining your reasons as to why you think you would be the perfect person to run the largest dive and snorkeling store in the United Kingdom to steve@mikesdivestore.com. There's also a full-time sales assistant vacancy at Mike's Dive Store in Chiswick as well. They're on the hunt for their next customer service hero who loves people, lives and breathes sales, and has experience in a retail environment. Some diving experience, working in or simply enjoying it as a sport is ideal, but at least some snorkeling experience is required at a minimum. Must be willing to undergo diving training. So they're looking for a couple people to work at their London-based dive centre. They also have a full-time remote customer service coordinator vacancy. Work from home by the sounds of it, which is always beneficial. And full-time warehouse assistant vacancy at their warehouse in Basingstoke. So if you are interested, you are in the area, you are looking to sort of get into the diving industry as such, learn a bit about how the retail side of scuba diving and the equipment works, then check it out. You can find more if you go to mikesdivestore.com/pages/careers. Just email your curriculum vitae and a cover letter to steve@mikesdivestore.com. The next news story comes from Essex, I believe, where a 13-year-old from Hemel Hempstead was overjoyed when he discovered a 10-centimetre long megalodon tooth on his annual fossil hunting trip with his father. So Ben is an avid fossil fan who also frequents the Jurassic Coast in search of ancient remnants, wants to become a paleontologist when he grows up, and said that the giant tooth, which is estimated to be from about 20 million to 3.6 million years old, was a great addition to his collection. And I have to agree with him because it's not like blackened. You know, you see a lot of megalodon tooth and they're black. This is more of a sort of ivory colour. It hasn't gone that dark black colour. Last Sunday, Ben and his father Jason had been fossil hunting at Walton-on-the-Naze after arriving on Friday the 28th of July and clocked up an impressive 16 miles of exploring along the coastline. And on Sunday, he found this, just the edge of the tooth poking out from under a rock, kind of poked about and found that it was this huge megalodon tooth about the size of his hand. And it's in really good condition, so a wonderful find. Next news story comes from the Baltic, and the Swedish Coastguards are saying that they're getting a really big Baltic problem, and they're having to save shipwrecks from looters. And objects are vanishing from historic shipwrecks as sport divers and criminal gangs are looting well-preserved sunken shipwrecks. One of these shipwrecks is the Baltic, which was built by the English shipbuilder Thomas Day and is believed to have run aground in 1678 and sunk whilst transporting flour to the Swedish naval fleet in Kalmar, which is down the coast in southeast Sweden. There's a buoy above it that says "Stop, Marine Cultural Reserve." And thanks to the Baltic's brackish water, it protects the wreck from shipworms, and this 20-metre-long ship remains on the seabed upright and largely intact, full of relics that are still being discovered, and two of its three masts poke up towards the surface in their original position. But now Baltic faces a human threat to its existence. Authorities say that it's among thousands of historic shipwrecks across the Nordics that are at risk from plundering. And on a monitoring operation last week, experts shared photographs with The Guardian that show that objects are vanishing from these shipwrecks. A marine archaeologist, Jim Hansen, said the plundering problem isn't just a Swedish problem, it's a Baltic Sea problem. And because of the sea's low salinity and comparatively shallow average depth of just 55 meters, it's become a museum of shipwrecks that are now quite easily accessible by scuba divers. And they have since teamed up with the Coastguard and police to better protect the wrecks. Authorities are keen to show that shipwreck looting is taken very seriously, and in September, 4 Swedish men aged between 57 and 70 were given suspended sentences, and 3 of them community service for multiple cases of gross antiquities violations after they were caught with 100 items looted from shipwrecks. Among the objects found in their possession were a 17th century iron cannon and clay mugs. It's quite hard to explain that. So hopefully with enough Coast Guard presence around the shipwrecks, basically scaring looters away, and enough of their like inspections just to double check that things are still where they left them, because then they noticed that the this cannon had gone missing, and then these guys have it in their possession. That's quite an easy one for them, but hopefully that will start to reduce and just leave the shipwrecks alone. Having a look online, anything new and interesting that piqued my interest. I did see that on scuba.com they have what seems to be a new brand for them, Space Fish, and they have, or Space Fish Army, I can't really tell. They basically make rash vests, but really funky rash vests, but everything from like leggings to headbands and like socks and things, but really bright, vibrant colours, which are just kind of cool. So yeah, if you're in the market for a new rash vest or a new funky design, then check out scuba.com and Space Fish Army. They've got all sorts of really bright designs and other like patterned designs. That's about it as far as news stories, but whilst I am talking about vibrant colours, this week I've been working on a video breaking down different colours and which ones are better in like certain environments. Someone was asking online, I think the name was at McQ, and they were basically asking which colours are better, and it's always an ongoing conversation with scuba divers about like what colour equipment you should go for. So I figured I'd make a video about it, and I think that's coming out this Saturday. If you're listening to this on Saturday or Sunday, or basically after Saturday at 3:00 GMT, that video will be going live. It is quite interesting because it's kind of the only, or one of the only sports where it really affects your color choice of equipment, because as we all know, red disappears within the first like 5 meters of diving underwater. And whilst I was researching this just to make sure that I was getting all of the sort of the colors right, it was quite interesting to learn about fluorescent colors and how fluorescent colors actually work. And they work by absorbing a shorter wavelength of light, like your blues and greens. So they absorb that light, but then they reflect back longer wavelengths. So the blues and greens appear more yellowish, and that's why they're a bit more brighter and vivid. And I was looking at lots of people who've done videos, and they've taken like pen lids down of like all these different colors, and you can see how they change at certain depths. The vibrant fluorescent colors really do stand out better, it was quite interesting to like revisit, because as much as you go diving and people wear all sorts of different colors and you see how they change underwater, it is quite interesting to see them like side by side, if that makes sense. I think the general consensus is like your yellows and yellow, orange, green are really the brightest, and they stand out the best underwater. White is okay, but it does turn blue quite readily, and in a sea of blue it does kind of disappear, but also it's a real pain to keep clean. Anywhere underwater, in the oceans, in the seas, in the rivers and whatnot, they're quite grubby places, so trying to keep your white dive equipment white is quite hard. Red is a surface color. It's great when you're on the surface, but yeah, below 5 meters, useless. Orange is pretty good. Yellow is a little bit better. Green is surprisingly good, or at least a luminous, like bright green is good. The like dull green obviously just blends into the background. So, but it can be seen from a further distance, or at least it doesn't get absorbed in the water quite as readily as yellow. Blue's tricky because it's always going to remain blue, but yeah, similar to white in a sea of blue, it's a bit more blue. And then once you get into like the purples, purple gets really tough to see because that again turns or looks blue and sort of quite easily. But pink, especially your vibrant pink that you see on a lot of like DSMBs and fins nowadays, fluorescent pink is deceptively effective and does stand out quite well. Regular pink, like sort of baby pink or something, that does disappear quite readily. It's similar to red, so it turns like a brownish color. But if it's a proper fluorescent pink, yeah, actually, looking at some of the pictures and videos, it does stand out fairly well. So I've been working on that mainly. Otherwise, I'm working on a video for the Maldives, which is quite interesting, learning about the Maldives and different dive sites around there. Otherwise, I think that's mainly been my focus. I did a whole bunch of Ask Marks last week and kind of crunched through them, but I haven't edited them, so I've been mainly working on this color and the Maldives video so far. But yeah, racing through the week, so much so that you turn around and you're like, oh, Struth, I've got to do the podcast. I haven't really looked at any news stories yet, and I haven't seen any new dive equipment. I don't think I think we're still waiting on a few more Techline equipments coming in for test to check them out. We're testing a few of their bits and bobs just to sort of see what they're like. They're definitely a brand to keep your eye on. I'm seeing a lot more of them on social media, which is interesting. But yeah, that's what I've been working on this week. So yeah, remember to head over to the YouTube channel if you're listening to this elsewhere. Head over to our website scubadivermag.com and yeah, check out our YouTube channel and subscribe if you're not subscribed. Yeah, thank you for listening, everybody, and of course, safe diving. The Scuba Diver Magazine podcast is sponsored by Scubapro. For more information, head over to scubapro.johnsonoutdoors.com and find out more about their amazing scuba diving range.